Hi, I'm Mike Smith, and this is my Week 5 video tutorial for the Coursera course An Introduction to Interactive Programming in Python. I've decided to cover a few topics I've seen around the forums. These are for loops, mutability, and images. For the mutability tutorial, I want to use a command that CodeSkulptor doesn't have, so for the first part I will use Python and idle on my computer. For this reason, I will do a really quick tutorial on it as well, which will likely help you out in the future. On Windows, you just scroll to here. I have a few different versions installed. You'll have command line as well as the idle Python GUI. I'll load that. I'll move it over to the right here and resize it. This is similar to the output window in CodeSkulptor. You can also type code directly in this window. But when we're doing a new program, we'll usually start and go to a new window. But since I already have a file ready for this week called week5.py, I'll open it up. And we'll put it over here. Okay, I regularly use this as a calculator, so I can do things like 6 plus 7 times 8 minus 4. We get 58. I can also just define a function here and then use a for loop to get it to execute a function with different numbers, and we get the output of the function here. Similarly, if I run the code here, you'll see it outputs 58 as well as the same numbers. If I just type in here range 10, you'll see it gives me a list of numbers 0 through 9. So over here in the code, if I was to just use the list itself and run it, gotta save it every time, you get the same output. Using a for loop, you can pretty much iterate over any sequence. So here I have a string, which I'm just going to iterate over and print each character that's in the string. So if I run that, you'll see it prints hi there. And we'll get rid of this print up here as well. I can also use range to print every third number starting at 5 up to but not including 25 with this loop. So I'll run that, and we have 5, 8, 11, all the way up to 23. We'll comment out that example. Now in this example, I just changed I to item. You can use anything for your variable name, and I put a comma at the end so all the numbers will come out on the same line. And we have the same numbers, they're just all on one line here. We'll comment them out. One thing that's different in Python 2.x as compared to CodeSkulptor is the way it does division. So if we run this, we get 14, 14, and 14.333. Here we're using a float, so it comes out as a float. Here we're using integer division, so we get our integer. But in CodeSkulptor here, we would also get in float instead of the integer division. So what we can do in Python is use from future import division, and that will make it run the same way as CodeSkulptor does. Okay, that should give you a little tutorial on Python as well as for loops. On to mutability. Let's comment that out. We'll start with ints. Now, a function I use here is id, which is a function that's not available in CodeSkulptor, and all that does is gives us the id number of the variable. This will help us determine whether the object has just been changed or whether it is the same object. So we'll run that, and you'll see here I got 9 because I add 5 and 4 together, and I change x be 7, I increment y, then I add them together again. And you'll notice here that the numbers are different for each one. This y happens to be the same as this x, and that's only because x has changed to be something else, therefore y can actually use that number, the new y. And if we try to change part of x, we'll get an error. We'll comment this out, and we'll try it with floats. Run it again. Now with floats you can see the same thing. I'm doing basically the same type of operations up here. And again you can see that the numbers of the x's, numbers of y's, and numbers of the z's are different. That's because it's creating whole new objects and not just mutating them. Again, if we try to change part of x, we'll get an error. We'll comment that out, and we'll try the same thing on strings. Now here with the strings, I'm also using a couple of commands like replace, change to uppercase, and that type of thing. And as you can see in each example, the x changes the number, the y changes the number, and the z changes the number. So every time, no matter what we're doing to it, it's not the same object, it's creating a new object. Even if we're just changing it to uppercase, it creates a whole new object. And if we try to change part of the object this way again, we'll get the same error. We'll comment that out, and we'll try it with tuples. Again, you can see the numbers are different for each one because we're creating whole new objects and not mutating them. If we uncomment that, again, we get the same error. We'll comment that out and try it with lists. Now here you'll see at first we're using the equals to combine them together or add them together. So you'll see the first time those two numbers are different on both of them because it's creating new objects, because we're making it equal something. Now on the third one here, you'll notice I changed part of z to be 1 here, and you can see that the number is the same because I mutated it. I did not create, it should be this one over here, z, because I mutated it and I didn't create a new object. Here I do append 9, and again you can see the same number. I mutated it, I did not create a new object. And then if we pop that 9, again you can see the number is the same, it's still the same object. We'll comment that out and try with dictionaries. Now with dictionaries again, I'm doing the equals up here, and you can see at first the numbers change because we're creating new objects. But if I change part of the dictionary, the number doesn't change because it's still the same object, we just mutated it. And here we use y.pop5, and again the number does not change because we mutated it. One thing you may notice is I snuck in one other thing in here that isn't in CodeSkulptor, and that is pop for dictionaries. If you type dir and then an empty dictionary, you'll see that here pop is an option for a dictionary. You can ignore the rest of this stuff here for now. So let's switch over to CodeSkulptor here. I have in here basically the same thing, print dir and an empty list. And you can see here pop is not supported, but you will see what is supported. It's a quick way to get what there is here without going to the docs. Okay, on to images. Here I load an image, and I'm just going to draw portions of the image on the screen. This is similar to question 9 on quiz 5b. This is the image I'll be working with here. Basically what I have here is 32 by 32 blocks of what looks like water and grass. So we'll just draw this first block, the center would be at 16 by 16 since it's 32 by 32, and we show here it's 32 by 32. We'll draw it on the screen at a center of 50-50, and I'm actually going to increase the size of it by 50% and make it 48 by 48. So we'll draw that, and we have one little piece of water here. Okay, so we'll uncomment these next few lines, and you can see here that the only thing changing in these lines is where I'm drawing on the screen. I increase that by 48 each time because I'm drawing it at 48 pixels, and where it's coming from is increasing by 32 each time because I'm increasing it by 32 pixels, and that means it'll draw this block, this block, this block, then this block. So we'll run that, and we get the 5 blocks because I also did the next line as well, and that's why this is increased from 50 to 98. Okay, we'll uncomment the rest of these, and you'll see this is 146 now because it's dropping down another line to draw another line of water, and the original ones are the same here. The only thing different from the top to the bottom is that, as well as the last one I'm drawing it at 32 by 32 just to show the difference. So you see the last one smaller. Okay, now in the center here we're going to put in a little island, and we'll go back over here, and we'll notice that on the third line down here, so if we start on the first one, we go down 1, 2, and we start off the first block here, we go over 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to this patch of grass. So we're going to draw the 4 and 5 one here. So in here, I start off my 16 center, and then I go over 4 times 32 and 5 times 32 to get those 2 patches of grass. And again, the X here is moving by 48 because that's the size I'm drawing it at. So if I run that, now I get a little piece of water with a little island in the center. I hope that helps with understanding how to draw pieces of an image on a screen, and I will show you a quick little demo here of why I created that image to begin with. If you're familiar with the game 1942, this will look somewhat familiar. It's something that I'm starting some work on, and so far I can shoot the ships. Let's increase the size of this so it doesn't pop back and forth. I can shoot them, they can shoot me, I can run into them and die. I don't have explosions put in or anything yet, but so far this works, and everything that I've done in this so far is stuff that we've already learned, so it is something that you can easily do. Planes actually go down the screen, back up the screen, and then if they go back down the screen again, they disappear, and then I'll spawn more planes. Okay, I hope this has helped you understand for loops, mutability, and images. Thank you for watching, and good luck.